Welcome to the Federated Access Control Ordering Application Demonstration. This demo has been produced by the SFI-funded FAME Strategic Research Cluster in collaboration with Cisco in Galway. Imagine two large organizations sign an agreement to federate, which could be motivated by many legal reasons such as mergers or acquisitions. This agreement will have particular impacts on the business processes and on the way the organizations share resources and communicate. From the Federation Agreement, we can derive rules that will constrain how resources belonging to each organization can be made available for use by each participant. Access control rules can be defined to control the sharing of local databases, source repositories, and even how members of each organization can communicate. In our scenario, we aim to realize access control over how instant messaging can be controlled under the terms of the Federation Agreement. Within each organization, there will naturally be groups of employees which have different access privileges to resources. These groups will be represented as groups in the instant messaging server following the XMPP standard, so that individuals can communicate within each organization. The organizational structure can be stored in a database or an LDAP directory, so it can be accessed by other applications in the organization. Other organizations may have different natural groupings of its employees, such as in public research organization, who may have postdoctoral researchers and students. Different organizational structures is quite common between organizations that will need to federate. A federation agreement may describe, at an abstract level, the allowed communication between various groups belonging to different organizations. It may also define what resources may be shared between the organizations. A typical federation policy or rule is that Cisco managers cannot send XMPP messages to TSSG students. This may exist for many reasons, the primary reason being that postdocs are supervising the students and not the managers in Cisco. It is difficult and cumbersome to enforce this policy in a static fashion, and any configurations may need to be altered rapidly and dynamically later as the terms of the Federation Agreement may change. What is needed is a highly flexible solution that can automatically enforce the access control policies defined in the Federation Agreement. The Federated Policy Ordering application is targeted at administrative users within an organization that can readily codify the access control requirements set out in the terms of the Federation Agreement. In this case, they can specify who can and cannot communicate or share resources. Many access control solutions require the administrator to learn a quite detailed and verbose policy language in order to enforce access control. Our solution makes use of a language-driven development toolkit that can automatically analyze, validate, and optimize so-called business policies into enforceable policies represented in XACML, the Extensible Access Control Modeling Language. Our solution intercepts IM communications within each organization and ensures that all access control policies are enforced efficiently. What now follows is a demonstration of the Federated Policy Ordering application. Our application is designed to be user-friendly and accessible to administrative staff that are familiar with the terms of the Federation Agreement, but not familiar with the specific details of the XACML policy language. Here we are defining access control policies over allowed communications between groups within Cisco and between Cisco and the TSSG research organization. Notice, however, that we do not specify a policy that allows Cisco managers to chat with TSSG students. This is because by default all communication is prohibited unless there is a specific policy to allow it. This high-level natural language is processed and transformed into an intermediate policy language along with a supporting database. This is because our solution can produce any number of target policy languages. In this scenario, only XACML is produced. The intermediate language takes some assumptions made in the Federation Agreement into consideration during the translation process, thereby alleviating the need for details in the business policy language. Once the XACML policies are generated, they are validated and deployed, and all communications are now policy enabled. You may notice that the XACML policy language is quite verbose. Our system alleviates the policy author from knowing detailed information of the XACML policy language and is extensible to other policy languages. We will now demonstrate XMPP communication sessions, initially allowed and then disallowed. We will now add a policy that will permit communications between Cisco managers and TSSG students and observe the results.